Hello, and welcome to my presentation on nanotechnology and society. My name is Parker Baker, and I am a third year here at NC State. I hope you enjoy the presentation. So, what is nanotechnology? According to a quick Google search, nanotechnology encompasses nanoscale science, engineering, and technology. Nanotechnology involves imaging, measuring, modeling, and manipulating matter at this length scale. Essentially, nanotechnology is just the implementation or manipulation of matter and technology in the nanoscale. The nanometer is a very small unit of measurement. The nanometer is 10 to the negative ninth of a meter. For some reference, a sheet of paper is about 100,000 nanometers thick, while a single gold atom is about a third of a nanometer in diameter. So you can clearly see that nanotechnology is the science and technology of teeny tiny things. Very quickly, some contemporary examples of nanotechnology include microprocessors and smartware. Microprocessors are an integral part of computing. Advances in nanotechnology have allowed for more efficient and stronger semiconductors, which primarily make up the microprocessors. These advancements allow for computing to become even stronger. Smartware or smart textiles are clothes that incorporate technology into themselves. Some examples of smartwear include self-powering clothing and the integration of sensors into the clothing. These sensors are used in the medical field to help garner specific data. Now that we have a better understanding of nanotechnology, we can begin discussing how it interacts with STS. One of the focuses of STS that we learned about in Sysmondo is the public perception of science. The way nanotechnology interacts with the public is no different in this regard. Nanotechnology's perception has absolutely been impacted through the media. A few examples of how it is portrayed in the media include the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU for short, the Terminator series, as well as popular video game series such as Metal Gear Solid and PlanetSide 2. And when it comes to literature, the popular novel Prey, written by the late Michael Crichton, is in there as well. The MCU is one of the most popular film series in the last decade. Nanotechnology is used heavily throughout the MCU's lifespan. Some of its origins date back all the way to 2008 with the release of the first Iron Man. Here we see nanotechnology being used in his suit of armor. Nanotechnology is referenced here and there throughout the universe, but it is revisited again in the Academy Award-winning movie Black Panther. In Black Panther, nanotechnology is used in many of the advanced technologies that exist in Wakanda. Wakanda is a hidden area of the Earth that is incredibly advanced. Some of the nanotechnology that Black Panther showcases are advanced footwear material and a self-manufacturing suit of armor. Then again, we see the nanotechnology being shown through Iron Man in the first part of the culmination of the series in Avengers Infinity War. Here we see Iron Man with the ability to construct a suit of armor around his body quickly after clicking a button. In the movie, he also takes a huge hit, but the armor is able to regenerate itself. Iron Man is also able to manipulate the armor and create different weapons through nanoparticles. Another extremely popular film series that incorporates nanotechnology is Terminator. In Terminator, nanotechnology and artificial intelligence come together to create oppressive robots that possess regenerative and transformative abilities. In the movies, these robots are able to take normally fatal hits and regenerate these injuries at will. Just in film alone, we see nanotechnology being represented in the 1980s and 1990s by Terminator. Later, it was represented by the MCU throughout the late 2000s and 2010s. This means that for at least 4 decades, huge franchises have helped shape people's opinions on the technology. However, film is not the only piece of media that impacts our views on nanotechnology. Popular video game series Metal Gear Solid and PlanetSide 2 both utilize nanotechnology. Metal Gear Solid introduces nanotechnology to enhance their soldiers through stimulants or drugs in the nanoscale. While in PlanetSide, we see nanotechnology being used for armor, vehicles, and materials to assist in a never-ending war. The novel Prey by Michael Crichton incorporates nanotech through nanobots. These nanobots inevitably take on a mind of their own and begin hunting humans. Throughout all these interpretations of nanotechnology in the media, we see a common theme of war and violence. However, we also see that these are not the only thing the technology is capable of. In Metal Gear, we see that nanotechnology is being used to distribute drugs more effectively. We see the improvements of clothing and protection through both the MCU and PlanetSide 2. We also see the potential regenerative abilities that nanotechnology can provide through Terminator and Prey. Just like many other technologies, nanotechnology is capable of building, creating, and improving human life while also being able to destroy and produce destruction. So, is nanotechnology a positive or negative technology for humans to pursue in research? Should we be limiting the research of nanotechnology? How much of this information is fabricated through fiction? Is this technology a reasonable reality? These questions helped lead me to my first scholar. Here is a little bit of information about my scholar. David M. Berube graduated from New York University with a PhD from the School of Arts and Science with a concentration in communication, media, and culture. He now works in Research Triangle Park at North Carolina State University as a researcher and professor. Here he teaches many courses related to communication from the undergraduate level to the doctoral level. His research includes many topics from nanotechnology to risk analysis and life cycles of science. Berube has done many research papers and dissertations on nanotechnology. This is a primary reason why I chose him as my scholar. His book Nano Hype: The Truth Behind the Nanotechnology Buzz is from the special collections here at NC State and is another focus of my presentation. Berube discusses how pop culture media has impacted the public perceptions of STS. He essentially says that utopians, fantasies, and horror scenarios involving nanotechnology have become a staple in the industry. Berube also delves into how the government has impacted the public's perception of nanotechnology. He has an entire chapter dedicated to government actors, something that we learned about from the actor network theory in Sismondo. Other chapters are dedicated to government initiatives and promotional reports. All these help shape the public's perception on the technology. Later in his book, Berube discusses the industry itself as well as the non-governmental organizations that are involved with the field. These groups have incentives to be involved into nanotechnology just like the government does, whether it's to make money, an altruistic view to help humanity, or for personal gain. All these factors can influence those in the field and their reports. Berube then goes on to discuss the negatives of nanotechnology on the environment. He focuses on nanohazards and nanotoxicology. Nanotoxicology is toxicity that nanomaterials can present to the world. Finally, Berube ends his book with a focus on the public sphere and policy making. Policy making is also an important aspect of public perception. I believe that people often associate illegality with negativity. However, we must remember that policies can be put into place regardless if the action is bad or not. Sometimes, unjust laws and legislature are allowed to exist. I really liked that Berube talked about the many ways or groups that can influence public perception. In the end, I'm glad I chose Berube as one of my scholars because I think he opened up my eyes to other ways the public can be influenced. I think before studying Berube, I believed that the film industry was the biggest impactor of public perception. Now I see that governmental groups and corporations also have a monumental impact on our views. Another key aspect of nanotechnology in society that I wanted to focus on is how people can get involved with the research. I believe that nanotechnology does a better job than other popular sciences when it comes to practicing inclusivity. My other scholar, Virginia Gerwin, did an interview with Arabian professor Hassan Haik. Haik is concerned with the stereotype of Arabians in Israel, the stereotype that they are too uneducated to participate in science. He also wants to help develop nanotechnology that will detect cancer cells early through the breath. Through researching nanotechnology, he is hoping to break this stereotype. Another way that nanotechnology participants are practicing inclusivity is at the Greensboro Joint School for Nanoscience and Nanoengineering. This school is a partnership between North Carolina A&T and Greensboro and UNCG. The U.S. government dictates North Carolina A&T as one of the 107 historically black college universities. This school is helping people of color get involved with nanotechnology and nanoengineering as the field begins to emerge into the popular sphere. So, here are some of my sources. I had a lot of sources, so I just linked it to a Google Drive doc because I didn't want to try and force them all on the screen. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at pcbaker@ncstateuniversity.edu. Here's some closing statements. Overall, nanotechnology, just like many other forms of technology, is inherently neutral. The perception and uses of technology are solely dependent on those using them or promoting them. This technology has the potential to create, assist, and propel humanity forward. It also has the potential to be a tool of war and promote destruction. How we as humans use this technology is entirely up to us. Hopefully, we will use this technology for the betterment of humanity. Now that we have reviewed nanotechnology, I hope you have a greater understanding of its interactions with the public. If you have any questions about the material or forces, again, feel free to email me. I hope after sitting through this presentation you'll remember to take media portrayals at face value and do your own research about the topic being portrayed, because as you can see, the media has a lot of influence on what we see, and without further research, we will remain blind. Thank you.